Alex Pereira was knocked out cold just a month ago, and he's already signed to fight Jan Blachowicz, which is a step up in competition from Isreal Adesanya. And I believe that this has put his future in jeopardy. This is a massive mistake. How on earth are you going to take one of the most brutal KOs we've seen in years and then step up in competition against a guy that can also take you down? This is a nightmare for Alex Pereira, and I think that Jan Blachowicz is going to knock him out this July. And you heard me say that Jan Blachowicz is a step up in competition. He is. Jan Blachowicz is a better striker than Isreal Adesanya. You can't take a step up to fight Jan Blachowicz 3 months after getting knocked out cold and have a great chance to win that fight. Now, Alex Pereira can knock any man out on this planet, but when's the last time we saw Alex Pereira go in there with a high-level striker and just put his lights out within the first exchange? That's just not really what he's able to do against a guy like Isreal Adesanya or against a guy like Jan Blachowicz. For sure, he did that to Sean Strickland, but it wasn't in the first exchange. That was Sean Strickland sitting there with the iCarly stance, putting his chin on a silver platter, just asking to get put out cold and made a meme. Jan Blachowicz is one of the most defensively sound fighters on earth. And this is the most important thing to note. Alex Pereira is a guy that likes to break you down slowly and methodically, likes to take your base away, your legs, your body. He'll hit you with big knees in the clinch. And most importantly, those low calf kicks of Alex Pereira is what he does best to take away your movement, to get you to the point to where in the middle or latter half of the fight, you're easier to track down up against the fence so that he can start smashing you with the right hand. Eventually, you're going to want to slip your head off to the left, and he'll catch you with the left hook. That is what makes Alex Pereira so dangerous. It's his ability to poke at you with these big, heavy investment shots. And Jan Blachowicz is the best fighter on earth in MMA when it comes to checking leg kicks and giving out leg kicks of his own. I have never seen anyone as successful as Jan Blachowicz when it comes to taking away leg kicks as a weapon that can be used against him. Look at what he did to Adesanya. Look at what he did to Alexander Rakic and Magomed Ankalaev. Adesanya loves to sit behind his leg kicks. That's how he can take guys' movement away and just sit at range and outpoint them. Jan Blachowicz shut that down completely. That's how he wins his fights. That's how he breaks people on the feet. This is exactly how he shut Isreal Adesanya's game down completely. Because Adesanya, when he can't kick your legs and have success with that, he's just not the same guy, because when he resorts to boxing, he ain't all that. He's a decent boxer. He's very dangerous early on, but that's not enough for him to be able to outstrike you if you're on a high level. Jan Blachowicz also shut down the hardest leg kicker in the UFC in Alexander Rakic, who is known for having ungodly power in his leg kicks. If you look at his fights with guys like Jimmy Manuwa, if you look at his fights with guys like Anthony Smith, you can see this from a mile away. I mean, just look at the guy's legs. He looks like a fucking centaur. That's how explosive his legs are. And Jan Blachowicz checked all of his kicks, took that weapon away from him, and neutralized Rakic to a guy who has a lot to be desired when it comes to his hands. And ultimately, Alexander Rakic hurt his legs after getting them checked and couldn't make it out of the fight because he got injured. His legs were screwed. Jan did the same thing to Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev is one of the most defensively sound strikers in the game. And he uses his leg kicks as well. He's very fast with his leg kicks, and he checks them too. But against Jan, he got completely shut down. He was getting wobbled around the octagon as well. Like, not many people are able to do that with these basic techniques like Jan Blachowicz. He's got these titanium, like, pillars for shins, and it's just kind of OP. And if Alex Pereira can't find that success, even though he doesn't telegraph his leg kicks at all, and he might be the best at actually trying to utilize them, I really do think that there's no one on this planet that is more suited for this fight, that is more ready for the test than Jan Blachowicz. And when it comes to the boxing, for sure, Alex Pereira has a reach advantage. He has a slight power advantage. For whatever reason, he just can't take shots that well. When you hit this man flush on the chin, he does the chicken dance. Look at his fight with Adesanya back in November. I mean, that is exactly what gave Adesanya that round. That's what gave Adesanya some momentum, was rocking Alex Pereira with the right hand. And he didn't learn the lesson going into the next fight. In fact, he was doing a little bit well, slipping the right hand in the center of the octagon, but he got a little bit overzealous, over ahead of himself. And he went for the finish, and Adesanya capitalized, hit him with the same combination, and slept him out cold. When's the last time someone has gotten knocked out cold, came back 3 months later, and looked good? And I actually did some research on this because most people haven't. Like, I can bring you a lot of different examples. The perfect one being tied to Ivasa. He got knocked out by Cyril Gane and then just got put out by Sergey Pavlovich. And I understand Pavlovich has a lot of power. That might not be the best example. But my point is, it's pretty rare. We've seen how knockouts have affected guys. And this is the first time Alex Pereira has ever been KO'd. And he has been TKO'd in kickboxing with a body shot, but the first time he's ever been put out. And the most important thing is Alex Pereira gets hit. Adesanya has better head movement than him. And the guy's going to get hit in this fight, and I don't think it's going to go over so well for him if Jan Blachowicz catches him with that Polish power, man. And if you look at his boxing, it's top-notch. Jan Blachowicz is one of the hardest men to hit in MMA, and I understand some of you guys are already going to be typing, what about Glover? What about Glover? Glover caught him with an overhand, and he also has the threat of the takedown. And that was just a really bad performance from Jan Blachowicz. But nonetheless, it's a grappler. We've seen Kamaru Usman completely wash Jorge Masvidal. Are we going to sit here and say that Usman's a better striker than Masvidal? No. But he completely dominated and humiliated him in their rematch and knocked him out cold. It's the threat of the takedown that sometimes makes a difference. And when Jan is just in a striking battle, he doesn't lose. But he still has the ability to shoot a takedown on you. And he still has the ability to control you down there and to submit you. This guy has some submissions in his arsenal. He's submitted guys in the UFC. And the thing is, we've seen Alex Pereira on the ground. He looks like a fish out of water. And although he might be a harder man to take down because of how big he is, once it gets there, he looks like shit. So that's just the facts. Like, Jan Blachowicz has the threat of the takedown on top of it. And I had just mentioned, when you have the threat of the takedown, that opens you up to getting hit. So we're going to have an Alex Pereira that is open to getting hit and thinking about the takedown, that's also tentative after getting knocked out cold, brutally finished, which would be 3 months prior to this fight. And he's fighting a guy that can check his leg kicks. This is a horrible decision. I don't understand why his team didn't try to deter him from getting in the cage so quickly. When you get knocked out like this, you have to pump the brakes. I really don't know what his team is doing, man. What the fuck? You could have fought Johnny Walker. You could have waited till you got the result from Anthony on Paper Smith versus Johnny Walker. That would have been a better matchup for him, because those guys haven't really shown that they can just shoot a blast double leg takedown down the middle and dominate you. And I know Johnny Walker's had some submissions, but it was actually from a guy taking him down first. But Jan can take him down. Jan can submit him. Jan can check his leg kicks. Jan can get out of the way of his jabs. And if he lands a right hand on Alex Pereira, who just got chinned 3 months ago, it's not going to look that great. The weight cut will not be that great of an issue, which is good for Alex Pereira. He can actually just focus on the fight. That's the advantage here. But why not just have that advantage 6 months later? If Alex Pereira signed to fight Jan Blachowicz in November on the MSG card, I'd be looking at a much closer fight. Again, this is just an irresponsible team for Alex Pereira. Glover Teixeira, the other guys that are training him, you know, Belgari, his old foe in kickboxing that he trains with these days. Where are you guys, man? You should be trying to talk this guy out of it. And at the end of the day, he's his own man. He's going to make his own decision. But man, the UFC must have offered him a bag. I mean, that's maybe it. And I think that the UFC would probably want Pereira to win because they know he's got, you know, a little bit more star power than Jan Blachowicz, given the way that he has beat Adesanya. And so if Alex Pereira can get it done, well, we're off to the races, because we'll get to see him fight Yuri and Jamal Hill, and I think he has a much better chance of winning those fights, because those guys aren't known for fucking your legs up by you trying to kick them. They don't make you pay for that. And I really think we're going to see Jan Blachowicz on top of Alex Pereira, landing some brutal finishing blows. And then this man's career is going to look completely different. I mean, that's the kind of KO that already fucks you up, the one that Adesanya gave him. That's the kind of KO that can put you on a downwards trajectory. Granted, he's only 36, and that's not that old for the light heavyweight division, but it's still getting up there. You know, we have old champions like Glover Teixeira. Jan Blachowicz was a champion when he was, I believe, 38. It's possible that he can come back. Glover Teixeira has been chinned by Gustafsson. He's been chinned by Rumble back in the day. And the guy still to this day is one of the toughest, biggest granite chin having motherfuckers around. Pereira could have an improved chin. We never know, but I don't see it. I don't think the guy has a granite chin. And I know that Jan Blachowicz is hard to hit. I know he's more defensively sound. And even though Alex Pereira has better kickboxing accolades than our guy Jan is more tried, tested, and proven in MMA. And I like his chances here because he can just shoot that blast double leg takedown early on and beat the shit out of our boy Pereira, bro. It's sad, man. Like, you could have had a better chance if you had just turned it around a few months later. This is just way too soon. But what do you guys think? Who are you going to be picking in this fight? I just have to go with Jan Blachowicz, and I think he's going to beat Alex Pereira within the first 2 rounds by KO, TKO, or maybe even a submission. Until next time.